Hi, I'm Sergio and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about sitting and hand positions. This forms part of a beginner course or a fundamentals course that I'm going to be publishing on a Monday alongside my regular material. So really it's quite important as a beginner student, but also as a player that continues to play and has been playing for a while. Hopefully this video will also be interesting to intermediate players who are looking to fix up some bad habits. Let's look at sitting position. So at the moment I'm sitting in what you would call the classical guitar position, and you can see that the guitar is leaning sort of upwards on an angle. So you can see that in order to create this upward angle of the fretboard, which is going to give me great access to all the frets all the way up the fretboard, I need to have this leg raised. So the classical position, you have a raised left leg, and we do that with some sort of stool. In this case it's called a footstool, which is an adjustable device that you put under your left leg, and you position the saddle of the guitar, which is this part down here, on it. That should sit reasonably comfortably. I find that when I have students starting this, it doesn't feel very comfortable to start with, but that's because you're not used to it. So in order for that to really sit well, the right leg has to come down. So you can see that in order for me to get this guitar to sit comfortably on the saddle, this leg has to go downwards. So this leg will push downwards, and I tend to have my right leg slide back. So with that sitting quite comfortably, you'll find that there's a point of contact on your right leg, on your left leg, and then you just lean the guitar back towards you. That's basically the position that the guitar sits on your legs and against your body. Then we're going to bring our right arm over and on top of the guitar. So this little space here above, more or less above the bridge, kind of ends up being quite horizontal. And a lot of guitars end up having some sort of rest here, which is curved to allow an easier access to this spot. We're talking about the forearm sitting on top of this ledge. You want to have a balance there so that you can sit really comfortably. The arm should be really just leaning there. The angle provides some space in between the hand and the soundboard. So you can see that there's a little bit of a space here in between my fingers and the strings and the fretboard. My fingers are sitting relatively straight as well, so you want to try and keep curved, but not too curved, not too flat. Now you'll find that when you have your arm in this position, you should be able to put your three fingers IMA on the top three strings and your thumb anywhere on one of these bass notes. One of the exercises that I'd like you to try and I get my students to do is just to go in and out of this position, which I call the default position. And you can start off by looking, and then you can just start doing it without looking, and just to orientate yourself towards those strings. Because one of the things about starting to play guitar is just knowing where the strings are and having this sort of need to always see everything, but really you're going with the kinetics and the feeling of it as much as the looking. So practice that over the next week or so, just getting used to finding those strings. And when we start doing some playing exercises in our next video, it'll be really important for you to be able to find those strings. Now we've got our right hand set up and our sitting position not too bad. I should also mention that you want to try and keep a relatively straight back. That sort of goes without saying, but a lot of people tend to slouch and that causes problems later. With the left hand, you want to have your palm facing out and your left elbow bent, so that you basically end up having the palm facing up and the fingers coming up in this way. The thumb is going to end up sort of halfway up, no more than halfway up the back of the neck, and then the fingers are going to curve over. Now your fingers are going to position themselves perhaps initially further up the fretboard. You want to put a finger on each fret and have them spread out a little bit. So as you spread the fingers out, you'll find that they sort of curve around each other, and you'll have a different point of contact on the string. So a good first exercise for you is to bring the arm up and then just see how it naturally sits with your fingers spread out. Again, it probably won't feel particularly comfortable to start with, but you want to just get used to the idea of your fingers being in that position. So you can also have your legs crossed over like that. It's a little bit less pronounced, the neck height, but what I find is that it's definitely helpful for playing more in the flamenco fashion and using more wrist. So if you're trying to play flamenco, I think you'll probably end up playing in this position. I also use it as a change of position. If I'm playing in classical position, I'm feeling a little bit tense or tight, then I'll move to this position, and certainly works for when I'm playing flamenco styles and rumbas. You'll find that the right arm is a little bit lower, and it allows for a bit more wrist movement, as I mentioned, and your wrist is sitting out a little bit more. Certainly for some things, some classical things, I really don't feel as comfortable because of the leverage isn't quite as strong. So because the guitar is lower, I'm not getting as much sort of gravity leverage, and sort of the guitar feels a little bit further away. But I still enjoy playing in this cross-legged position for certain style. Some people do like to sit like this, and I do occasionally sit like this as well, which is have to kind of hold the guitar in this spot against your body. It's kind of more of a traditional flamenco position. You are kind of holding up against your body, so there is a little bit of tension here, and your right hand is a little bit restricted. The beauty of it is that your hand's really high, and your face and your eyes are really close to the action, so you can really see and feel what's going on. So just to wrap up, I've talked about a lot of things, and you can go to my blog, latinguitarmastery.com, at the link, and I've got a bit of a summary of what I talked about today. I've also got a beginner Latin guitar course and intermediate course available in the courses section of the blog, or you could become an LGM member and get access to some play along tracks, lesson notes, and PDF downloads. I hope you got some insight and some value out of this video. Next Monday we'll look at some techniques, some picado techniques, free stroke and rest stroke, arpeggio techniques to get you playing, and also some exercises to get this left hand feeling flexible, independent, and strong. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. That's it from me. Thanks.